what's up? I'll leave you alone forever now.
Hello, today we're revisiting the epic movie Scott Pilgrim vs. the World with returning special guest Playmaker.
Hey, great to be here again.
Thank you for coming. Now, we've already covered this many years ago, but since Scott Pilgrim Takes Off premiered, it made us want to rewatch the original movie over and over again. And it's still fantastic.
Yes.
So, let's get started. When did you originally watch Scott Pilgrim? Do you remember when? We know Playmaker.
Right. I guess it came out, I think, in 2010, right?
2010.
So it would be either 2010 or 2011 because you showed it to me.
Yes. I am so proud that I said first.
Yes.
And Playmaker, you can tell when you watched it first.
I watched it in January because Rascal here gave it to me as a gift.
Yeah, yes, we both actually thought about it, and it's like, wait a minute, we just got him into this show. Let's just give him the movie now.
Yes, and I gotta say it was a mind-blowing movie. It was everything and nothing like the cartoon at the same time. It was just phenomenal to see. It's definitely now up there with my top 5.
Right.
Now, for those of you not familiar with Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, now it would be hard to imagine. It is an action comedy movie that was co-written, produced, and directed by Edgar Wright, who you know from other things like Shaun of the Dead and many other.
Buzz and others.
Yes. And last year, an anime based on this movie and the original manga premiered.
Yes, and it got people so excited that everybody who watched the movie actually went to go rewatch the film, and Netflix even added the movie onto their streaming service for a while to celebrate the return with the anime. And it was hilarious because when they first announced the anime, they didn't show any visuals or anything. It was all text, and it said Scott Pilgrim, the anime, the original cast in November, and that made everyone lose their mind, and they started going and finding the movie, getting the books and everything, prepping for it. That's how strong this film is.
Smart marketing. Now, fun fact, this movie was a box office failure. It took 60 to 85 million to budget it, and it made less than 50 million at the theaters.
Yeah.
So it really took off after DVD release.
Right. And it's funny because a lot of other movies expect the same thing to happen now. All the flops. Oh, they're all going to be cult followings years from now. Just you wait. You're kind of banking hard. But this is the exception because we kind of thought when we rewatched it, there's going to be some things that don't work now. Is it going to lose some of its magic and stuff now because of changes? The anime made changes now to writing, so it's not as aggressive. And aside from maybe 1 or 2 lines in there, the movie's still hilarious to watch. It's still full of action. You still love watching it. It's like every 5 seconds you're laughing.
So, Playmaker, since it was your first time watching it, and we've watched it over and over and over, tell us what made this a joy for you and brought you over to the Scott Pilgrim side.
Well, for the most part, it was mostly because of how relatable Scott was, especially now that I'm as a 22-year-old guy, I'm the same age as him, so I feel like a lot of them I relate to, a lot of it in terms of, how he's dealing with life, how he's dealing with relationship, how he's dealing with everything. It's just the relatability of Scott definitely spoke to me there. And then, of course, a lot of the jokes and then side guests, and then, the subtle roast that you could tell his friends were giving him, especially the Wallace.
Yes.
And honestly, what really spoke to me, especially when I first saw the cast of the cartoon, or anime, I'm sorry. When I first saw the cast of the anime, I didn't realize that Chris Evans, aka Captain America, was in it.
Yes.
And that's what really spoke to me, because I actually looked it up, and this movie actually came out a little bit after his first superhero appearance of Johnny Storm in Fantastic Four.
Right.
And then just 2 years before he got accepted as a year before he got accepted as Captain America.
Yes.
Right?
His life-changing role. And
yes. And all I could throughout that whole movie, all I could think about is what if he just brought out his shield? What if he just brought out
right?
Scott Pilgrim fight?
Instead of a skateboard.
Right?
Exactly. I even made, just a little side note here. I actually made a video of what it would be like if Steve Rogers met Lucas Lee and fought each other with a shield and a skateboard.
And you should see that coming up right about now because we're definitely attaching for you to see. It is brilliant and awesome.
Yes.
So I can remember when I first saw this. It was unlike anything I had ever seen. And I was like, oh my gosh, that was fantastic. I want to tell everybody to see it, everybody to watch it. And I fell in love with Michael Cera as an actor. I mean, how can you not love Michael Cera?
Right.
How can you be human and not love Michael Cera?
Right. And it's hilarious how I'm loving this character, majority, because you read the stuff about the original book, and it said you're not really supposed to like Scott because he's doing stuff because he's a loser. He has practically no life. He won't get a job, this, that, and the other, and you're not supposed to like him, per the creator. But it didn't. It didn't work. He gets to this movie, everyone loves him.
Yes.
He does the anime, everyone loves him even more. And I get the creator's like, okay, this went backwards.
Honestly, like my favorite personal jab, like my personal favorite jab that they like feel like, especially the movie always drived. Like they were saying, "Oh, he's dating a 17-year-old. You're dating a 17-year-old.
Yeah.
You've been out of high school for how long?"
Right.
And it was just hilarious because like they didn't bring up anywhere in the cartoon, because in the cartoon they just brought up, oh yeah, he's just dating her, and then the whole point was just he's being with Ramona just to show like it was like a whole, oh, you dumped me for her, and then they jab at Lucas Lee for dating a supposed 17-year-old.
And she's 31.
Yes, and that was the
Really?
that was the big controversy. It was like, do you guys know how old this movie is? And
Now-
I remember on a post someone had made a comment on Sean's Shinigami Phoenix
Yes.
channel, and they were making that comment, so I posted under there. In real life, she's 31 now, so it doesn't matter. And I remember it had like 50, 60 likes, and people were commenting.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't matter now. And even then, it didn't matter because nothing happened. It was just a fun watch.
Yeah,
and I
exactly.
do remember at that time, it never even crossed my mind to think
Right.
about that because it was just a fun movie.
Right. And they definitely addressed in the anime to the point where it's like, okay, let's have very little to no interaction with them and say, okay, she's grown from this, she's moved on, he knows what's wrong now. And they handle it really well in the anime. And if people had just watched it like we had, and actually, it's okay, I know what I'm thinking, but let's just keep going, you would see they handle that perfectly. And they were like saying like, oh, let's try to crap on the movie because this one thing is now wrong 20-some years later. And it's like, why are you trying to find something wrong with this? Shut up and let us enjoy it.
One thing I really love about this movie is that almost everyone who was in here was not a star at the time. They were
Right.
not huge. They were not big. And everyone in here now, and I mean every person in here, is well known now across the world.
Yes.
And they've gotten famous from other roles. And I love, again, Michael Cera. I remember an interview where they said, you've just become famous for being yourself. He says, yeah, I don't really act. I'm just myself. And everyone just loves him being himself.
And now he sells Sarah V.
Yes! Best things ever.
I love that, yeah. And then you have, like, with the rest of the cast, especially with the exes, I'm pretty sure people who read the book kind of had maybe their favorites. And we know they're handled differently from in here and the anime. They all have their own takes on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because you get to the anime and certain characters got way more spy because of the timeline change. Well, it was one thing in the show. When we watched the movie, one thing that did remain the same was Matthew Patel, and they still using the thing when he wanted to become an actor. What was hilarious, he had like literally the greatest entrance ever of just blowing up the place and coming through, Mr. Pilgrim!
the demon dance, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna beat you, and then boom.
Oh my gosh.
Well, now that we've mentioned the cast, let's give a shout out to them because they're absolutely awesome. And
Yes.
I think what really is fantastic is all these years later, and it was like the movie just happened yesterday.
Yes.
And they had just picked up where they left off. It was
Yes.
brilliant. Of course, Michael Cera.
Yes.
And Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Ramona Flowers.
Uh-huh.
And she became more famous before Scott Pilgrim takes off for playing the villain in Sky High.
You're right.
And you got Kieran Culkin, Anna Kendrick, Brie Larson,
of course,
Alan
Chris
Moss.
Evans.
Yes, I was
yeah.
waiting for Playmaker. Brandon Routh, Jason Schwartzman, Mae Whitman, and so many more. This was like, you couldn't pay people to give you this great of a cast lineup
Right.
now. And it just naturally happened back in
Yes.
2010.
Yes. Who knew all this movie magic would come forward years later? And people revisit the movie, and a lot of them, and some of course said, oh, it's not as good as it was before because the anime had more of a heartfelt part to it, while this was more action based. But for the most part, people are like, how is this movie still good all these years later? How is it still like nothing changed?
Because Edgar Wright is a genius. And on top of that, again, it was a box office bomb. It has a cult following, but through the years, it has received over 70 awards.
Oh my gosh!
So it's just fantastic, and it's just a testament to just how great the movie was.
Yes.
And so far, no one we've told to watch it has gone, oh, it was okay. That was mid. I don't like it. Every single person over the years we've ever told to watch it
Yes.
has loved this movie.
Even Bennett is saying, I watched the movie and then the anime the next day. I'm like, oh my gosh! And then you have the effects used in here. Now, normally when they do a lot of these adaptations of comics and things, before now it became the thing to do, most of the time they kind of has some cheesy effects, whether on purpose or by accident, and it kind of doesn't age well. Mm-hmm. And remember, it was inspired by anime, but it's not. It was only a graphic novel. Well, what they did with this movie, they were way ahead of the game. This is what a live-action anime movie felt like before it became thing everyone wanted to do and try to get right. They nailed it before even having the anime. Yes. And all the effects and fights and everything felt like you were watching something animated, and it worked.
And, of course, everyone was cast perfectly.
Right.
So that helped, too. And one day I really hope to read the actual manga. I really want to read that manga.
Me too.
The style for the artwork is fantastic, and just seeing so many rave reviews on the manga itself. So that's definitely a goal in the future, to read Scott Pilgrim vs. the World manga.
Yes. So, do you have any favorite moments or characters from the movie? Well, you already said your favorite character. Any favorite moments from the movie Playmaker?
Okay, I'm sure we have like 100.
Oh, Jesus, well.
well, besides the entire film itself, that's the
like, geez, like, how much time do you have?
You can pick maybe one or two.
Okay, that's unfair.
Well,
before you make your comment,
I'll try based on your biased comment there.
Okay.
Before you tell us what your favorite is, I want you to read this because it's absolutely hilarious when you think of what has happened now. This reviewer made this, and I quote, statement years ago. He said, anyone over 25 is likely to find the film exhausting, like playing chaperone at a party full of oversexed college kids. And I think it's hilarious because look what has happened now. And it's like, does he still have a job?
He's over 25. It's like,
and everyone in the film is over 25. All the voice actors are over 25. I'm over 25. And so all the people who watched it now in the beginning are over 25, and we're still loving it. So.
Yes.
Okay, now tell us your favorite scenes, Playmaker.
Okay.
Sorry. Really, I am over 25.
So definitely, so one of my definitely favorite scenes from not only from both the anime and the movie alike was definitely the scene with Julie in the coffee shop.
Oh God!
Mainly just because of the censors. It's like, I told you not to bleeping Demeter. Wait, how are you doing that? Never mind how I'm bleeping doing that. I always laugh at censor scenes. It's just the fact that it just automatically comes up with a beep, or when Rascal does like the Star versus censor, like the censors always get me.
Yeah.
Just in general. But then like also I'm like mixed between like the ending and also like the middle part where like Scott and Ramona first met up at like the playground on their first date, and then at the end when they finally end up together, like those moments just have always been like just real heart tuggers for me. And like obviously those are moments that I like to adapt more for like my Star Versus videos and stuff like that. But yeah, like in terms of comedy, that's my one. In terms of romance, that's my favorite one. And I just have also just after seeing the final fight scene, like after he did the second round, it was just like, like you said, like some of the cheesy effects that don't really hold up that much nowadays. Those were especially favorite, especially when Knives just jumped in on scene.
Oh yeah. But as Rascal said, when you watch it, it does hold up. You're not looking at it going, oh, that looks fake. You're looking at it and you're laughing, and you're going, this still works. Yeah. This whole entire movie, even the effects still work. Yes. And adding on to that, we've all seen a lot of anime adaptations, and this movie from 2010 is better than 95% of the anime adaptations that are being put out. Right?
Yes, definitely. Especially when you compare it to stuff like Bleach.
Oh, FMA. Yeah, and they're like, oh, Bleach was good. Like, no, it wasn't. Stop lying to yourself. That thing wasn't good. And then you have, like you mentioned with the romance, you know, in here, part of it was playing more for, okay, he just won't quit. And she just kind of says things to him. She said she was a little more snarky. And one of the few things you do like that was updated for the anime was that she was a lot nicer. She still had smarmy remarks. She still could say things. She still had sass like Raven from Teen Titans. But she ended up having a more likable personality in the anime, especially when she's going through all this just to find him after one date. True. And made all of their scenes together a lot more, pull on your heartstrings the entire time, so they actually made you love them even more.
Yes. Exactly. And not to mention, like, you can tell, like, in both the scenes from the movie and the cartoon, like, when Scott just asked her out at the door, in his front door, you can definitely tell that Ramona actually enjoyed, liked the idea, whereas in the movie, it looked like, alright, yeah, I'm just gonna go with this guy, and I'm just a one-day fling.
Right, if you just sign for the package, will you stop talking? Yes!
I'm gonna just throw this out right away, mainly because of the irony of it all. But one thing that I definitely did like about the movie Scott Pilgrim is his taste in soda, i.e., Coke Zero.
Oh my goodness!
And I'm having one right now.
Oh my gosh! You're brought to you by Coke Zero.
Well, I mean, that was just kind of just out there. But then when I realized in the movie that Scott had mentioned it multiple times, just realized, oh yeah. Obvious product placement.
Yes. Oh man.
For me, I love this movie from the beginning because anyone who's listened to our podcast or listened to me knows I love slice of life anime. I love slice of life, and how they took what was literally the most mundane things and made them exciting. That's what made it just a joy for me. It's like he wasn't super cool and popular.
No, but somehow we girls like
him. And no one in here was supposed, except for Chris Evans' Luke, character. But everyone else is just a run-of-the-mill slice of life, supposed to be boring. Right. And then by the time you get to the movie, you're like, yes, this is awesome. This is wonderful. I want to see it. It's like, but that was supposed to be slice of life.
Right.
It's supposed to be plain.
To the point of with Todd having vegan superpowers. It's and it's like, oh my gosh, he's worse than him in the anime.
Yes, that's my favorite.
Here, you don't have those, do you? Vegan superpowers?
I'm not telling. I can't reveal secrets.
No, the vegan police will come after you. If you break so much as eat one piece of chicken, they will come knocking down that door.
Oh my gosh. But this is just one of those movies that I can still see decades from now. It's still being a favorite. It's got that type of relevancy like watching A Christmas Story and some of those holiday movies because they made it fun. Again, it is slice of life, but they made it exciting. You have fantastic acting. You have scenarios that would never happen ever in real life.
Right.
But they made it look feasible in here, this could really happen.
Yes, it was so absurd.
And everyone was cast perfectly.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So
And-
much so they got them all back for the anime.
And think about it. It wasn't a convoluted plot in terms of writing and what the characters were saying and the dialogue.
Right.
And I think that really helped it to be well loved. Sometimes you have people who write these movies and they're trying too hard to make them likable. And then you listen to some of the lines and the dialogue and you're like, it's bogged down by too much.
Yeah.
But this wasn't. The dialogue, when you think about it, was actually pretty simple.
Yes.
Especially like, have you heard of, not Sonic then.
Now
but it was-
Pac-Man.
Yeah, it was so simple.
Paku Paku.
Yes, so simple. And everything worked that was being said.
Right. It was just, it's incredible that all, so far, I'm sorry, 4 versions, because you got a video game too with the anime and the movie and stuff. You got 4 versions of story. A graphic novel, a movie, a video game, and anime. And so far, every version of this story works.
Yes.
Even when they make the changes, even with the plot twist in the anime, all the versions hold up. All of them tell the story in a different way, but it's still fantastic. So it means they have nailed what this is supposed to be and have something new to bring without it feeling like, okay, you missed the point of the entire story. It's just fun.
Absolutely. So, favorite characters. You start.
Me?
Yes.
Okay. You know Scott. It's kind of time between Scott and Ramona because love them together and love them as
Oh, that
separate
was a dumb
characters.
question, wasn't it? Yeah.
And I guess for the evil exes, part of it is Patel because of just how over the top he is every second he's on screen.
And for you, Playmaker?
Well, in terms of protagonists, definitely Scott and Ramona. But in terms of the exes, Lucas Lee, just because he's Captain America, and then honestly Todd, just because of the vegan super flavors.
I love the entire cast, but having to pick one, of course I'm going to pick Michael Cera.
Right.
I'm going to pick Scott.
And his expressions after the movie are always like, why?
I'm going to pick Scott, of course.
Oh, man.
So, if you've seen Scott Pilgrim, we know you have Versus the World.
Oh, you have
Let
to.
us know what you think in
Yeah.
the comments. When did you originally see it? Who was your favorite character? Have you watched the anime? We really want to know what you think. If you haven't, stop waiting.
Right.
Watch the movie. Buy it. Watch it on Netflix. I think it's still on there if they haven't taken it off yet. And just give yourself an hour, 112 minutes of fun.
Right. Oh, and if you haven't already, subscribe for updates with your favorite anime series, anime shows, all things animation, and of course, live action.
Yes, and thank you so much, Playmaker, for joining us. Woo!
I'm always happy to be here.
And we're so happy you love the movie, and we know you're recommending to other people as we are, because once you come into it, that's it. You know?
Right, that's it.
That's it. And thank you so much for joining us, guys. We appreciate it. Be sure to feel free to share this video or this podcast. It really helps out our channel a lot. And don't forget to visit Playmaker's channel.
Yes. And visit, of course visit it. Of course visit it, because there's a lot of stuff you're going to like on there, especially if you love Kamen Rider and Power Rangers.
And if you hate Madam Web, you need to watch a video that Playmaker has on there.
Yes,
It's very short,
Yes.
but it's very sweet. And it's got over 100 and some thousand views.
Yes.
We'll put
And
it up here so you can.
300,000.
Oh my god!
Oh my god. Yeah,
We
because
need some Scott Pilgrim
Apparently, a lot
special
of people
effects.
agree that. I'm sorry.
We need some Scott Pilgrim special effects for that.
right?
No,
And-
honestly, I don't even think that would help this travesty.
Right. It's because unlike Scott Pilgrim, I don't think Madam Web is gonna become a cult classic years from now.
No.
No.
No, you can't.
But watch the
That's
clip
how bad it is.
because yes, it's
Yes.
fun.
So thank you so much for watching. I'm Rascal.
I'm Mama.
And I'm Playmaker.
Have a toontastic day.
Peace.
And reporters sitting flashing lights, trying to walk around, man, who the hell are you? What you wanna do? Well, man, it's on you. Man, it's on you. Met her in my dreams, she was my queen. A castle in the mountaintops, rivers and streams. Plucking sunlight from the sky in my pocket, give it to you later on in the phone.